Welcome to the Redvee TV Show, supported by Chapel House Cars for the 2024 season, where, as you can see, Car Swap is now on for this week. We are resplendent in yellow, Kev. The sun is shining. The cars are flying off the forecourt. I was going to say shelves then. No better time to do it. And I tell you what, Kev, we look all right in yellow.
Yeah, nice and bright. Well, I went down to Chapel House to pick up these tops on Saturday morning, and the guys and girls there were resplendent in yellow. You couldn't miss them. And when I was having a chat to them down there, they'd been busy. So, listen, if you want a deal on your car, get down there as quick as you can.
Indeed. And as you can see, over 1,000 cars in stock, available from as low as £69 a month. You can choose to book your own exclusive appointment and get the best possible price for your car. Or if it's more convenient, as Kev did, you can pop down and have the pick of the bunch. All cars are prepared and priced to sell, and the car swap price will be displayed on the windscreen along with the original price. You'll get a valuation upon arrival, a guaranteed part exchange price, which you can use against any of their new, nearly new, or used cars in stock.
Excellent stuff. I think the only thing I would actually just advise Chapel House is don't necessarily offer people the hot drink of their choice in this weather. They may want something a little cooler.
Indeed. But the big news, Kev, as we discussed on the 25th of January on the third Redvee TV show of the year, when we heard the rumour of Tommy departing for Catalan, I think we did a 20-25 minute episode on it. You could see it coming true, and it has indeed come to fruition. Well, Tommy has announced he's going anyway. We await confirmation of where he's going next. Wish him well. Absolutely. He's, for what he's done for the club, for the career he's had at Saints, he absolutely deserves the best send-off this year, and to do what is best for his and his family's future.
Exactly right. He doesn't owe Saints anything. 14 wonderful years in the Redvee, and he's been tremendous all the way throughout those 14 years. I know I've said this a couple of times on Redvee. My first memory of Tommy was, I think it was picking up a loose ball against Wakefield at Widnes and going pretty much length of the field and turning to you and whoever was around me and saying, who's this with pace here? And it was Tommy, and he soon became a mainstay of the team. It's probably not my favourite memory of Tommy. That may well be the 2014 grand final when he got over for his try, possibly. Or he's set up off the post for Jack Wellesby's try in the 2020 grand final. But you're right, he completely deserves to go out on his own terms, and wherever he may move, well, it's not been announced yet. Good luck to him. And I think fans do feel the same. I've literally picked 3 off Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, before. Nick said he's a real legend. Susan said great memories of Tom. And Gaza, I don't think it's that one, said he's a Hall of Fame shoo-in. And I think while you can argue he should be in the Hall of Fame, that man there is definitely in that conversation.
Yeah, my favourite, and probably in my best 13 of Saints wingers. I think he's been absolutely tremendous for us. But Kevin, I'm pretty sure we are going to do a Tommy special at the end of the year, where we will round up his Saints career, because we're hoping that he's not finished yet.
Definitely, and I think with the chat that he had that Saints have put out, it sounds like he is still hungry, which is only good for the club. And obviously, he was unlucky enough to get sent off in his last outing. He doesn't want that to be the defining memory of his final season. He wants to go out on a high. And listen, his standards have always been high. And the way that he carries himself, the way that he kind of has gone throughout his whole career, I see no one in this team pushing as much as Tommy to try and finish his Saints career with another grand final appearance and another grand final win.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the video that got put out, recorded with Tommy by the club this morning, 10 minutes long. You can see Tommy getting quite emotional throughout it, especially when he starts talking about his teammates about 7 minutes in. He looks like he's about to burst out crying. It just shows what a tight-knit bunch and culture that the club has had. Obviously, you only have to look at his social media to see just it's practically his best mates in the squad. You got Mark Percival, Morgan Knowles, and it's that culture that's propelled us to the success that we've had. And I tell you what, there's nobody is doing videos as good as the club at the moment. You obviously had the Johnny Lomax video, you've had the Tommy Makinson one, you had the Alex Walmsley one. Top notch.
Yeah, they are. I think the club deserve big raps for it. You mentioned about the culture at the club and his best mates being about when you've done 14 years at one place, you're obviously going to have them tight bonds, and you can see it. You can see it, as you say, social media. You can see it on the pitch. When you know what I have to mention again, the sending off against Cass, they all rallied round for Tom and thought, "Hang on, we feel aggrieved at that decision. Our mate's been thrown a bad one there." And whether people agree or not with the sending off is another matter. But the players obviously care for Tom that much that they properly rallied round. And it is a shame he's going, but sport isn't just we keep giving or people keep getting contracts forever and ever and ever. Because otherwise, if your favourites kept getting contracts forever and ever and ever, Alan Hunt would still be playing for Saints for me because he was one of my favourites. You know what I mean by that?
Listen, it just seems like the right moment for both parties, because it enables Tommy to go and get probably the last big deal contract of his career that he deserves to get, and to go and play in the sunshine. There's a clue there. It's not going Whitehaven.
That was sunny when we went.
It was actually, yeah. But it works for both parties, and equally as a club, we do need to start thinking of the future and the rebuild that we're going to need to make. And Tommy's not going to be the last of our big names who are going to depart over the next 1 or 2 years. And that comes with the success that you've had. It's never going to be nice and never going to be easy to let go. You only have to look at Liverpool with Jurgen Klopp going today. He's only won one league title, and he had a stage set up for him. Tommy has won multiple trophies, multiple championships, and it's always sad, isn't it?
It is always sad, and it's tough when you talk about you have to look to the future, because you want the players like Tommy Makinson to continue at their levels that they've been able to put out for 14 years. And I'm saying it very clumsily here, where you've got to kind of move on, but it's a business as well. So for Tom, if he can get a good deal somewhere in the sunshine for a good couple of years, you can't begrudge him that. You can't begrudge him sorting out his career, because we say it all the time, it's a very short one. So it is good luck to him. It is. I'm gutted to see him go, but is it the right decision for both parties at this point? Yeah, our fans are calling for, we need speed in the back line. We need new faces. Unfortunately, to get new faces into the team, you have got to let eventually some of your favourites go, or you see your favourites retire. It's just the way of the world. It's just the cyclical nature of players come towards the end of the contract, or like others who aren't good enough get released, and you then backfill with what's coming through the academy, or you bring players in and hope that they can make it. And we're at that point with Tom that obviously both sides have sat down and they've had a chat about what's going to happen in the future. And fair play to him for being able to go out on his terms with all the fans still absolutely loving him. I think he'll always be a Saints legend. I genuinely think he will always be a Saints legend. Yeah. His flying finishes, people are not going to just forget them. You will always remember how good Tommy Makinson has been for Saints.
I think even if you park the business side from club perspective, player perspective, if as we believe he's signed for Catalan next year, he's 33 when the season starts next year. If he can go and get 2 or 3 years from Catalan, playing in the sunshine in a nice environment, it's good for the body. It prolongs his career at the top of the game. It could genuinely be the best thing that could happen for him. Rather than having the pre-season training on Formby Beach.
You can have it on Canny.
Yeah, you can have it on Canny instead. And listen, even just as a life experience, to be able to go and sample a different culture with the family. Obviously, we're aware of it. It's Sam Tompkins, a very close friend of his as well. Sam Tompkins is out there, so obviously he'll have told him about the lifestyle. So I can't wish the lad any more but the best.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. Completely agree. And I hope when Saints go over there and he's playing, I'm sure that our fans will give him rousing kind of congratulations on his career. Unless he scores a last-minute worldie against us, in which case, sorry, Tom, but you're on your own with that one.
I'm sure in a Catalan jersey, when he scores, it'll be only a consolation.
Don't start thinking.
No. Right, next. Back to Wembley for the women. After winning the first Wembley final last year, they booked their place in fine style yesterday with a 32 points to 2 victory over York Valkyrie. Absolutely tremendous from 1 to 17, Kev.
Yeah, it was a really tough first half, and then Saints cut away in the second. Obviously, I think York had illness running through the camp. I wasn't quite sure.
The BBC didn't mention it, Kev.
Yeah, I don't know if the co-commentators were on commission or contractually obliged to mention it every couple of minutes. I got paid an extra £1 for every time they mentioned it. But you can only beat what's in front of you. And our women's team just kept on going. Kept York to a penalty goal. Kept the try line intact. And there was some good play as well in there. Some good, tough play. You know what? It's almost like Widnes, where I am currently sat, used to be known as the Cup Kings. Are these the Cup Queens?
Well, they'll be going for 4 in a row in the Cup. I've seen some Saints fans, obviously, when we go back to the men's team, talking about like the dynasty's coming to an end and it's the end of an era. I think the women's team have shown what an injection of new players can have. Obviously, listen, you're always going to have your Jodie Cunninghams, your Emily Rudgers in there. But we dipped. Is it fair to say, aside from the Cup last year, we might have dipped a little bit? But we've gone out and we've recruited really well. We've took Berry Salihi from Wigan. Georgia Sutherland come in from Warrington. Didn't take a backward step. She's absolutely immense. Phoebe Hooks come in on the wing. You only need 2 or 3 players to come through and transform, and just it just adds a bit of freshness, doesn't it? And another one I want to mention as well, Katie Mottershead. She's been in
mention 3. I was going to mention.
She's obviously come through the academy. She's probably been, is it fair to say, on the fringes of the first team the last couple of years, but she came on yesterday at hooker and kept Tara Jones off the field for a period of time just because she was going that well. And these aren't the names that are the first ones that come into a BBC commentator's mouth. It is a true collective effort from the women, and they do deserve every success coming their way.
They certainly do. And you mentioned the, as you say, Georgia Sutherland. I think at one point she ran through and picked up a York player and just carried the York player with her. Which, you know, when you think, I don't think I've ever seen that before on a field. I absolutely love it now, and how she took the try as well. As you say, Phoebe Hook came in from rugby union, real pace. It's exactly what you want from a winger, knows the way to the try line. But Katie Motter said, 100% when it was mentioned that Tara Jones hadn't got back on the field. I mean, that is a proper testament to her. She's been in and around the squad for a couple of years, I think now, and she's starting to see the fruits of what she does, and we're starting to see it as a club. But I watched it. Did you see any of the other semi-final today? I've seen it, and if
male or female, Kevin? Nope.
I didn't watch the men's one. I did actually watch the women's one, and if we play as we can, then we're obviously playing Leeds, because Leeds ended up kind of just managing the game out against.
I was going to have to say, who actually won?
Yeah, it was Leeds. It was level at half time, and then Leeds. They didn't win by a big margin, but pretty much with a better team. Leeds are going to have to step their game up as well, because I thought that our semi-final against York was a tough game that we pulled away from. I think there were just one too many errors. Leeds will be a tough team in that final, because they want to knock us off our perch. But this group of women on this absolutely joyous photo here are doing the town proud.
Yeah. Obviously a rerun of last year's Wembley final as well. So Leeds looking for revenge on the big stage, and hopefully Saints can do the business once again.
Yeah.
Not much more to add. We will come back to the women, I'm sure, before the final in a couple of weeks' time. Oh, but there is a cup curtain raiser, or cup, what's the word? Dress rehearsal this Friday at Saints, the letter before the men's game. So be interesting to see what we go with in terms of team there. Obviously, we can't afford to be falling back any further in the league after losing our opening game against York. But equally, you don't want to show Leeds your full hand, do you?
Well, it's funny you say that, because Faye Gaskin was on Court Comms, and she said that they've been discussing it with Matty Smith already. And the fact that you don't want to fall behind in the league, you go out there with pretty much your full complement. You're not going to start messing about too much and making it like taking players out just to rest them for a cup final. If you're fit, you play, and if you get, as Faye said, if you get an injury beforehand, it is just a sporting thing. It's what happens. So I think the women's team will go strong for the next couple of weeks before the cup final, because not only that, you want to go in with the confidence of having won games.
You say that as well. Obviously, it's laying down a marker, but there's 2 or 3 of the women who missed out on that 17 yesterday.
Yeah,
who would walk into any other women's Super League team. So I'm sure they'll want to push their hand up to get into that Wembley squad as well. So maybe 1 or 2 changes, but pretty much full strength. Right,
you'd have thought.
More big news, Kevin. The big man is back. Iggy Parzi played 25 minutes against Castleford Reserves yesterday in a 24-22 Saints win, I believe. I'm really good to see a couple of our other first team stars, Jack Wellesby, Iggy Parzi, Wonga Blake, all getting over there to support the big man on his return.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic to see. I spoke to someone who was actually over at the game, said did 2 stints in the first half on a really hot day, which then left Saints obviously a man off the interchange bench down. But the Saints team managed it very, very well and came away with the win, especially not having the suspended Tommy Makinson available to him. But he said Iggy went very, very well for his first run out. So hopefully we can build him back into that first team fold, because we do need as many big men as we can to get back in and to kind of carry us forward. A bit like Redvee.net's Noah Stevens did in his first appearance for the first team at that very ground.
Yeah, we've spoke frequently about needing a big man on the side, and I was interested in one of the top posts I seen about Tommy leaving, and it was basically saying a big rebuild for Saints next season. We need to go out and get a prop, and I'm thinking, do we though, in terms of what we've got available? If you look at where we are, assuming fitness is there, Iggy is contracted until the end of 2025. Alex Walmsley signed a new deal. So you've got Iggy, Alex, George Delaney, Matty Lees, and potentially, depending on how he develops over the course of the year, Noah Stevens. So you've got 5 proper props straight away. And that's before you've got the Sione, if Sione stays, Jake Wingfield, obviously, if he comes back from his injury. You look at, if we're going to be recruiting, it's more likely to be in the backs, isn't it?
Yeah, Morgan Knowles as well can do more than a handy stint at prop. Yeah, I'd have thought it would be more in the backs when it comes to recruitment. Speaking of backs, Johnny Vaughan's on that picture, and he wasn't playing at Castleford yesterday. He was at, I think he played second row for Swinton today. And Ben Davis played 13, or he was named at loose forward. T. Ritson played. Jake Burns made the step up from the North Wales Crusaders to Swinton. Ben Lane played at North Wales Crusaders. Dale Sambu played at North Wales Crusaders. So it's good to see that we're getting minutes for players, whether they're on the way back from injury like Iggy is, and it's great to see Iggy back. Or whether it's just the lads who are on the periphery of the squad and need game time. It's good to see that them partnerships are working.
Do you know what I love about Redvee TV, Kev?
Go on.
The attention to detail. You've even got your Tommy Makinson testimonial brochure popping up in the back corner. These are the things that you might not think people notice, but they do.
Yeah, did actually find that before. That's why it's up there.
You go. And you know what? We haven't even discussed that at all. Just pops into my head. Right. I think that's us done and dusted. We'll be back on Wednesday for a Redvee TV show. That will include
preview. Preview.
And we'll probably be in yellow again because Car Swap will still be on. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you during the week. Have a good one.